What's up, guys? It is that time of year again. The most sacred of American holidays is upon us. It's the Game Awards, the Keighleys, the Super Bowl for trailers of games that have at least a 30% chance of still being canceled, of cringy jokes made at the podium, and of Joseph Ferris dropping F-bombs on live TV while Jeff winces in the background. Never gets old. In today's megasode, Jay and I are diving into the categories that we actually care about. Who we think will win, who we want to win, and of course, since this is hardcore casual, you can expect some unfair jokes and some unplanned rants along the way. But before we get into it, a little bit of real talk. During editing, I discovered that I apparently didn't bring enough adjectives for the whole class. I latched on to one in particular, and that contagion eventually even spread to Jay. It was phenomenal. I said phenomenal more times than Jeff Keighley mentions his friendship with Hideo Kojima. I said phenomenal more times than Dispatch used dick jokes. I'm not proud, but I am consistent. So count how many times I say it, roast me in the comments. Winner gets bragging rights and everybody else owes me a sub. All right, with that out of the way, let's break it down.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
If you want to go, it's thegameawards.com. You can go, you can cast your vote, you can do all this. And I do want to say, though, the mobile version of this website sucks, which I was surprised at. But this is a pain to navigate on mobile. I don't know if somebody could write that feedback on Hideo Kojima's stomach so that we could be sure that Jeff Keighley, sees it.
That's the only way Jeff will see it.
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
It could be in one other location where he would see it, but yes,
yeah,
stomach would work.
Yeah, so we need to get that feedback to Jeff because it's awful on mobile. But we're gonna be looking at it here. Most anticipated
Great
game.
category.
So we have 007 First Light, Grand Theft Auto 6, Marvel's Wolverine, Resident Evil Requiem, and The Witcher 4.
I think a lot of people are maybe disenfranchised right now with GTA 2. The delays. So. People don't like delays. But my two on here are GTA. 007 First Light and Marvel's Wolverine. Wolverine's always been was my boy when I was growing up, so I'm excited about that game as well. I think that can be great.
Where would I like it to go? 007 First Light. I believe that is hardcore casual's most anticipated game coming up, especially out of this lineup. We've been excited about it since word dropped, and we've been following it very closely, as much information as we could get, all the little tidbits. So 007 is obviously who I want to see get it, but I just do not see any way Grand Theft does not get this.
So I think we will have some upset categories, and this will
not be one of them.
I don't think it'll happen either, dude. I'm wishing beyond hope that there's a couple on here that I wish would, even Witcher over GTA, but it won't happen.
Upset on this one could go either 007 First Light, although I think that most people are not nearly as excited as we are. I think it's a bit more niche. Skewed towards the people that not only love James Bond, but also people that love the Hitman series. If I was going to pick one upset out of this lineup, it would be Marvel's Wolverine.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I would say that would be the more likely to upset.
And the reason I think that's a good call is because Marvel's Wolverine is going to be an action game. Yeah, you're probably going to have skills, and you're probably going to have, but believe it or not, RPGs can still be very niche for some people. They don't have the patience to sit down and do skill trees and ability, this and that, and they don't like crafting, and Witcher's going to have all of that. So anyway, good call.
So there you go. Who would we like to see win 007 First Light? Who's going to win? It's going to be GTA 6. Best Adaptation. So
happy Splinter Cell got a nod.
This is an interesting lineup. So let me read through them for those that are listening, and then we'll talk a little bit more about them. So we have a Minecraft movie, Devil May Cry, Splinter Cell Death Watch, Last of Us Season 2, and Until Dawn.
Last of Us Season 2 sucked.
Yeah, as did the Last of Us 2, the game, yeah.
Just like the game did. So I'm counting them out right now. System thinks Minecraft's got this thing. I've heard a lot of people loved it, and that's great for people that love Minecraft and love this movie. Huge fan of Jack Black. Do I think this is what's going to win? Yes. I think Minecraft's going to win it.
I don't think so.
For people that are edgy, though, that like edgy, Splinter Cell Death Watch deserves this. If you liked the Jack Ryan show on Prime or Lioness or any of that shit, man, this Splinter Cell Death Watch was the closest thing you're getting to freaking Sheridan spy counter espionage flick, and it was fabulous. So I didn't see Devil May Cry either. I think Devil May Cry is so long in the tooth anyway that it just needs to be forgotten. But I want Splinter Cell Deathwatch, Mason, but I think it's going to end up being Minecraft.
I do not think it'll be Minecraft. However, I did enjoy the Minecraft movie. System says he did not even know that there's a Splinter Cell show. It is on Netflix, System, and I highly recommend you watch it.
You can get through it in a night, dude. The episodes are only like 23 minutes long.
And why? I'll tell you why momentarily. So I did actually like a Minecraft movie. I was terrified that I was not going to like it just because how do you make a movie out of a game that doesn't have a plot? And I was like, this can't work out. Now, was it award-winning plot? Was it thought-provoking? No. It was ridiculous, but that it was meant to be. And it actually turned out to be a lot of fun. It was good, dumb fun. I actually had a good time. Is it one that I'd be like, oh, dude, you got to see this movie? Absolutely not. But it was one that I did not regret going and seeing with my son and just having a good time. So Minecraft movie was fun, but I don't think that it will get it because you're going to have, this is obviously going to be more directed towards more serious gamers, hardcore, or at least people that are actually within the gaming community, not just people that are watching Minecraft videos on YouTube. So Devil May Cry anime as well did well, had great reviews. Like you said though, Devil May Cry, while all of us gamers know it, it doesn't have the same immediate recognition and cachet that like Resident Evil has, which it was a spinoff from or was intended to be a Resident Evil game when they started developing it before it became what it ended up being. So I don't think it's there. Splinter Cell Deathwatch. This, I think it will be Splinter Cell Deathwatch. I want it to be. Okay. I think it will be Splinter Cell Deathwatch. And so the reason that I think anybody should watch Splinter Cell Deathwatch if they're fans of the Splinter Cell series is because it changed my mind. I was terrified of this show. And I heard that they were making it. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Then the more I heard about it, the more I was like, I don't want to do this. This is not going to be good. It's a Sam Fisher. It's a follow-up to the games. I was like, okay, it's an old Sam Fisher.
Specifically Chaos Theory, the best of the games.
Yeah, so it's an old Sam Fisher. They're introducing somebody that is what seemed to be clearly positioned to be the replacement for Sam Fisher. And it looked like it was going to be one of these things where it was going to be this really tropey and predictable thing of here's the guy that you like, but look how old and gross, and here's the new cool person, and look how cool and how much better they are than this old slow guy, and try to do the old switcheroo. It was set up perfectly for all that to be a massive disappointment, and then I watched the show, and it was phenomenal.
Have you ever been happier to be wrong, dude?
No. It was so good. It was captivating. It kept you going episode to episode. Like I said, my only complaint was that the episode was too short. However, you made the point that not a single episode overstayed its welcome, and it was paced that it kept this brutally quick pace for the story.
Yes.
Like even in moments,
it felt like
scenes,
you were living that moment in time with them.
And even whenever it's just two people sitting across a table from one another, it is so intense and frenetic, and it just moves the story along. So it keeps this incredibly kinetic pace, and I loved it. So Splinter Cell Deathwatch changed my mind.
While episodes are short, and you add them up, and I think 6 episodes, and you're looking at barely over 100 minutes. You lived every minute of those episodes.
And as we said, especially the first episode, but even for the first few, it's not a lot. But the first episode, you could probably write the entirety of the dialogue on the back of a cocktail napkin.
Yeah,
like for the whole episode, there was
maybe
not
on a fortune cookie paper.
yeah, but it was so good and engrossing.
Yeah,
so that's my vote. The Last of Us Season 2, I hope gets all. I hope that it gets all the hate that it deserves.
Yes,
I hated the game. I hated the show. The first game was great. The first season of the show was incredible.
Yes, it was.
Everything followed suit. So I guess they made a show that was just as good as the game for both seasons. In fact, this is one that makes me even more scared because whenever you first blew my mind whenever they announced they did the shock announcement of Uncharted 5, and I was so stoked. The more I thought about it, the more I got worried about it, because I'm like, wait a minute, it's the same people. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But yeah, I hope The Last of Us Season 2 gets all the hate that it deserves. And Until Dawn, I think they just needed 5 nominees. So great job, Until Dawn. You stepped up when they needed you. Congrats on number 5. All right, so let's see. Next category, best multiplayer game. We have Arc Raiders, Battlefield 6, Elden Ring Night Rain, Peak, and Split Fiction.
So
This is not
we
Irish.
talked about Arc Raiders last week, and
Yes.
I'm very intrigued by it, although there's aspects of it that worry me. Speaking with my son and watching him play some Elden Ring Night Rain, I feel like the learning curve is a little high for people that thought they were walking into this, because they commercialized this as, hey, if you just want to play multiplayer Elden Ring, this is the way to do it. But that's not entirely accurate statement. A lot of it's very roguelike. A lot of it is not easy. Haven't played Peak or Split Fiction. I know Split Fiction is lights out good. I've heard that from everybody I've talked to. So just because it's what I've played, I'm going to vote for Battlefield 6 on this, because it's a return to form. Everything in this game is grounded in military reality. Even the add-on Red Sec Battle Royale that they did, I think just to appease the Warzone crowd, is very grounded, very real. The combat is visceral. It's brutal. It's unforgiving in so many ways, and rewarding in so many ways. So that's my vote. But I think Arc Raiders is going to take it.
Split Fiction is a fantastic game. However, the theme that we are working on here is clearly more ongoing varieties of multiplayer games. Split Fiction is a narrative game. You go through a narrative, and you have to do the narrative with another player. You do not have a choice. You must have a second player. And
oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I just assumed on the, like, if it was single player that you played one character and then kind of swapped to the other one, like GTA 5. But
nope,
okay.
You must have a second
Cool.
player, and if you have a copy, you can have somebody that does not own the game join your game, and they can play through it with you.
Oh wow, that is cool. That's a cool feature.
And produced by the guy that always drops the F-bomb every Game Awards, the French guy that we all like. Can never remember his name. But the same guy that did A Way Out. Great game. But I don't think it'll get the nod, but we'll see. Peak is interesting, has some good concepts, and it can be fun. I don't think they do a lot of stuff where there's like a lot of proximity things and a lot of like communicate, like where if you're too far away, they can't hear you. You got to find other ways to communicate. It's got some interesting ideas, but it's more of a proof of concept than it is a game to me.
I feel like 3 of these nominees were just thrown in there, and this is going to be a war between Battlefield 6 and Arc Raiders.
Elden Ring Night Rain. I mean, it's got its dedicated players, but Elden Ring, the actual Elden Ring, already won all the awards.
Yeah,
Night Rain doesn't really need any more love. So yeah, Arc Raiders or Battlefield 6, I think is where it's going to go. Battlefield 6, as you said, sort of trying to steal it all back, try to get back reclaim what it has lost over the years. And then Arc Raiders coming up and drinking everybody's milkshake when it comes to the extraction shooter landscape. They are sort of taking over where the Hunt Showdown and Escape from Tarkov left off, and they are absolutely just pinning the market down before Marathon even has a chance to limp out of the starting blocks.
I feel like Arc Raiders is going to get this because it's the only category they're nominated in. And Battlefield 6 has a lot of categories that it's nominated in.
I do think it will likely go to Arc Raiders.
I do
just because the way that it has caught fire is just so undeniable. Whenever if you're just scrolling around on Instagram, you're going to see clips from Arc Raiders all the time. And that's one thing, is it's so shareable. Like, obviously Battlefield 6 has great moments and things like that, but Arc Raiders is just so shareable, and the clips can go viral easily. So I suspect it will be Arc Raiders, but I think both Arc Raiders and Battlefield 2 have absolutely earned their right to be here.
And this could be a potential other upset category, I think.
If I was to pick a real upset, it would be Split Fiction. Best sports / racing, which always I've never quite understood why they have to bundle these together whenever they have.
Oh, that's my rant.
Nothing to do with one another. Well, I won't step on your toes. Go take it away, Jay.
Racing adapts itself to games in such a natural way that it deserves its own category. Racing is tailor fitted for video games because even if you're just on a controller, it is tailor fitted for video games. So the fact that it pisses me off, and I mean to no end, that they lump racing in with sports. And when you're talking about sports in video games, I got news for you. Fortnite is a sport in video games. Apex, Overwatch, Black Ops 7, those are sports in a video game. Because by nature, Overwatch is set to where you're in an arena. You have an audience. So it drives me crazy that they lump sports and racing together. Is racing a sport? Yes, in the real world, it absolutely is. But you look at this category, and the fact that we even have Mario Kart and Sonic Racing lumped in with F125. And by the way, not for nothing, but Mario Kart could win this category because of the Nintendo fanboys thinking that Mario Kart is a legitimate racing title. Is Mario Kart fun? Yeah, you got a bunch of 2-year-olds sitting around. Yeah, Mario Kart is great.
To be fair, I don't know how much of an impact the voters have on this. I don't know what the percentages are versus voters to the actual experts. But
lumping this in with a game where you're traveling all over the real world at real world locations on laser scan tracks in real world style F1 cars, going 190 at Monza at the Temple of Speed, or coming through the casino turn at Monte Carlo, and thinking that's even remotely equal to Mario Kart I don't even know what to tell you. So I'm pissed off at this category whatsoever. And the worst part is I think Mario Kart World is going to win this thing, which is going to drive me through the roof. This needs to come down to FC26, also a great title, by the way, and not deserving to be lumped in with the bullshit on the end of this line right here. But obviously, my vote's with F125 or FC26, believe it or not. And just that these other three go fly a kite or take a long walk off a short pier. And sorry, I'm done. But
no, you're good.
Man, come on.
So this is the thing that I've also never understood, this whole like sports / racing, because they are so different. Where you've got team sports up against F1 or Need for Speed or kart racers or anything like that. It never quite made sense to me. I don't know why they have to lump them together. I think it should be team sports in one, and then racing in its own thing. Even if you do want to pit F1 against Sonic Racing or Mario Kart, at least have a single thing. But all that considered, I suspect that the winner of this category will likely be EA Sports FC26, because it's always FIFA or whatever that always, because of its broad appeal, is always a huge thing. That said, Rematch is actually a unique soccer game that has some anime inspirations and some.
It looks like Rocket League with like actual soccer.
I was about to say, it has a few twists. It's based. It is a more soccery Rocket League. They have some Rocket League inspirations.
I would even vote for Rocket League in this category before I vote for Mario Kart.
I would say that my son's a big fan of soccer and things like that. So for him, I would say that who I want to win this and my upset vote would both go to Rematch. I think that they've created an interesting little game there. This is an interesting category / strategy game. Final Fantasy Tactics, The Invalid Chronicles. That's one game, by the way. Final Fantasy Tactics, The Invalid Chronicles, for those listening. Jurassic World Evolution 3, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, and Tempest Rising, The Altars, and 2 Point Museum. So those are our options. And I know that some of you might already know my thoughts, but Jay, go ahead.
First off, I'd like you to guess who I think should win this category.
Well, if you respect my opinion, you would think that the altars should win this
I
category.
already thought you thought the altars would win this category, just so you know. So who do you think I think should win this category?
Well, okay, so I guess if you clearly do not respect my opinion, then let me see what else. Who else you can think would win? Uh, is it Civ 7?
Okay, so for anybody that knows me, would obviously Sid Meier's Civilization would be the obvious choice. And normally it would if Civ 7 didn't suck. But Civ 7 had a horrid launch. It's had horrible content delivery. It's not doing as well as Civ 6 did, and Civ 6 is fantastic, especially with Sean Bean as the narrator. This one's got Captain Phasma / Lady Brienne of Tarth as the narrator, and she does an excellent job. But my actual vote for this one is Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles, because it is a thinking man's strategy game. You're placed on a board of, normally I'd say hexes, except they're squares. It's turn-based. It's got 19 different job classes for your characters. My favorite of which is the calculator, because that's a mage class that you have to use when you send a spell out to do damage. It's based on prime numbers. So you have to determine the squares by prime numbers so that you don't hit your own people.
This sounds like a waking nightmare for me.
It is.
I can't math. It's not my thing. I don't like it. And trying to do it in a form of entertainment sounds wretched. I'm going to be honest with you, Jay. You're not selling it.
When you talk about this category and you're talking about simulation and strategy, specifically the strategy side of it, I really believe Final Fantasy Tactics deserves the win here. Who do I think is going to get the win here? I think it's going to be either Sid Meier's Civ 7 because of the draw. And I love Sid Meier's Civilization. It's because of the draw of the name, or it's going to be the altars.
So for those of you out there that might value my opinion, as Jay apparently does not, the altars, I believe,
value your opinion.
They not just play with you. The altars was a phenomenal game. I put out a review. You can watch that on the channel, and they did a phenomenal job with that game. It was not just a captivating narrative, but it could be a very challenging resource managing game, as well as like path building and stuff like that. So the way that they tied so many different elements together was phenomenal. And like I said, the narrative was what kept me going. The pace that they had managed to put together in your moment to moment gameplay and the way that it tied together, it made the thing where the gameplay progresses by the day. You have to go to sleep at night, and then the game saves only when you sleep. So you sleep, you wake up, then it's another day. And because of that, you're like, okay, well, if I want to quit, like if it's 3 a.m. and you got to go to sleep, you're like, okay, well, I have to finish the day. Otherwise, what I've done is lost. I've got to go to sleep. I've got to go to sleep in the game to save the game. So then you go to sleep, you get the little notification in the corner that the game saved, and then your guy wakes up, and then you get notifications, and then you're like, well, maybe I should go talk to this guy, or maybe I should. And then it starts the whole thing again. If you take the bait, then you've got to be like, well, now I've got to go through the whole day so I can go to sleep so that it can save. And then the whole cycle repeats, and then you have to be at work at 9.
So I'm so glad you said all that, because I wanted to tell you right now I'm about 6 to 7 hours in, and we've talked about this before, but we're both very completionist when it comes to games. One of the things that drives me crazy with the altars is I don't want to go to bed because I'm scared to death there's something I missed, and if I wake up the next day, then that thing will be gone and I won't be able to do it. And that game is driving me. It's what stopped me from going any further than I have already. Is I'm like, shit. Like right before I lay down, I'm like, did I forget to do something? Did I visit this person? Did I talk to that guy?
It usually lets you.
By the way, is all me talking.
Yeah. The only advice I'll give, and this is the same advice that I gave on the video. If you look at the video that's on our channel, our review of it, the only advice I'll give is don't leave any area, because that's the way that the game progresses as well, as far as sort of like chapters, is you leave from one section and you go on to the other. You have a mobile command center. don't leave, except for the first area. You have a tutorial area. As soon as you're done with that tutorial area, you can leave. But after that, don't leave any area until you have to. Otherwise, there will be things, there will be things that you will miss. So don't leave any area after that tutorial area. Don't leave any area until you have to. That is it. So, anyways, I want the altars to win. I think it should win. I think it has earned its spot. If it is not the altars, while Final Fantasy Tactics has a long and storied history, I would actually say that if the altars doesn't win it, I think it'll be 2 Point Museum, because
Okay.
that is part of a sim. You know, they have the 2 Point Hospital and all this other stuff. I think it's been one of those two, but I've got to pull for the altars on this one. That's who I want it to be. That's who I think it should be. I want it to go to the altars. Best family game. We have Donkey Kong Bonanza, Lego Party, Lego Voyagers, Mario Kart World, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and Split Fiction. Obviously, under the best family game, Nintendo is overrepresenting, but here we are. So, Jay, what
Okay,
do you
so
think?
this is the only category that Nintendo belongs in. There's my hot take. Other than Zelda, I feel like belongs in the RPG category. But if we're talking the OG Nintendo characters, Mario, Luigi, Donkey Kong, I don't even know if I can name them all. This is the only category they belong in the first place. So I'm going to go with Lego Party just to not give it to Nintendo.
So, I am going to say this
Oh,
is
shit. Didn't see that one. Split Fiction.
that I think it will be likely Split Fiction.
Okay.
If it's not Split Fiction, I think there are certainly cases for Mario Kart World just because of the party aspect of it and the legacy. And
Even I agree with that. Yes.
and Donkey Kong Bonanza is good fun, and it's fun that you can. It is like a good sort of puzzler platformer for experienced players, or kids can have a great time with it as well because you can break through stuff. So it is a great game, but I really think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Split Fiction. I think some of the other categories that it's in, it's kind of. It does, it kind of like, yeah, it can be this, but like the multiplayer, where it's obviously like the category is currently everything else are these ongoing multiplayer games, and then there's this narrative focused 2-player game, and it doesn't really quite fit, and maybe it's kind of punching above its weight class. This is a perfect spot for it. I think it should get it. I think it's going to be Split Fiction on this one. That's who I want to take it, and that's who I think will take it. Best RPG.
Okay.
We have Avowed, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Monster Hunter Wilds, and The Outer Worlds 2.
Bro, I am super torn on who I know it shouldn't be Avowed. I know that. But especially since they're basically canceling all support for the game. I mean, that ought to be a thing right there. So I did play Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, and I like it. I talked about it on the show before, and I felt like it would have been better served as a third person. And I feel that's still the same because, we talked about our characters and putting armor on and you want to see that stuff. So for me, really, the vote comes down to Clair Obscur, Monster Hunter Wilds, and The Outer Worlds 2. Of all three of these, I've played the most of Monster Hunter Wilds. I don't feel like it's an RPG, though.
That's exactly the same thing I was going to say. This comes down to two because
the story has always sucked on I love Monster Hunter, but we talked about this before.
Yes.
I'm like, tell me who I'm hunting. Let me find out what I need to take this guy down. I'll put it together. Let's go out and hunt the guy.
We talked about it where we were so excited that they're like, we're focusing on the story this time around. And I was stoked. Like, let's see what they do. We had barely gotten anywhere in the world. I was like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm like skipping everything. Like, I don't care. Just let me go. I don't care anymore. Like the story was so lackluster, and any choices that you did get to make, which were few and far between, meant nothing. Like, maybe on a technicality, you could call this a role-playing game just because you're enhancing some of your stats or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's it. If this is an RPG, it is on some wild technicality. In my opinion, this is going to come down to 2 games. So Avowed, it was a swing and a miss. It
Yeah.
was not anything special. The Outer Worlds 2, it wasn't a miss. It wasn't a swing and a miss, but it still is not anything special. Is it fun? Am I interested in it? Yes. I just don't think it's anything special. I don't think Monster Hunter Wilds is an RPG. It's going to come down. I know I haven't played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but I know a ton of people have. A ton of people love it. And then there's Clear Obscure Expedition 33, something that we also did an early impressions video of, also on the channel. And I think it will and should be Expedition 33 that gets the nod here. I am so impressed with what Sandfall was able to do with Expedition 33 with such a small team. It was unreal, and it was a phenomenal game. It should be, it will be, it must be Expedition 33.
Okay, I agree with you, but I don't think it's going to win, and I'm going to tell you why. If you look at the history of the Game Awards, I feel like Kingdom Come Deliverance is going to get this nod because Claire Obscure is nominated in so many categories that they're definitely going to win, and it's the most nominated game for Game of the Year of all time, that I feel like Kingdom Come Deliverance is going to get this thing, with the upset being Outer Worlds 2, although I don't think it has a chance against Kingdom Come Deliverance, but I feel like Kingdom Come Deliverance is getting this one.
Yeah, I think Outer Worlds 2 belongs in this category, but it is solidly in 3rd place. Best action / adventure. So we have Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Hollow Knight, Silksong, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and Split Fiction, One More Time. So, Jay, what are your thoughts on best action adventure game?
Well, and I'm looking at this as a pure category of action and adventure. I have not got to play Death Stranding 2 on the beach yet. However, and I haven't played Yotei, but I have played Death Stranding 1, and I have played Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm assuming is not crazy different, neither one of them, from the other ones. But my vote is still going to Indiana Jones and the Great Circle because of what it captures. It captures the essence of the best Indiana Jones movies, gives you a passable person doing the voice of Indiana Jones, who you will forget is not Harrison Ford.
To call him passable sounds like a bit of shade. Sounds like an insult.
It does, but I'm absolutely not throwing shade. He does a phenomenal job. And when we get to another category in here, you're going to see how much I think that he does a phenomenal job. But it captures the essence of the movies like nothing else ever has. And I feel like it deserves. I really feel like it deserves this win, but I don't think it's going to get it. I think Hollow Knight Silksong will get this, unfortunately. And I hate indie games winning big categories.
Well, I don't mind indie games winning big categories. Technically, Expedition 33 is an indie game. I don't have a problem at all with indie games winning big categories if they earn them. But
I just mean low budget, low graphic, 2D bullshit. That's all I'm talking. Yeah, because Claire Obscure that's a totally different cat. I mean, that game.
Hollow Knight Silksong is expertly crafted, and it's an art style that they want it to look that way. It's just I've never played the Hollow Knight games. I know they have a very dedicated fan base, and I know that they are, like I said, expertly crafted. They're just not my thing. So it would not surprise me if it won, because I know that it was a incredibly anticipated title, and then whenever it was sort of like finally dropped, it was a big deal. So it would not surprise me if that gets it. Ghost of Yotei, I haven't finished it yet. We all know my thoughts on Ghost of Yotei. It's yeah, it's fine. So Ghost of Yotei is there. Split Fiction, again, great game. I feel like it's kind of punching above its weight class on this one because for what it is. It's meant to be done in one sitting, and
I think somebody wants Split Fiction to win an award at this show.
Well,
That's what I'm starting to think.
I will say it does deserve a lot of recognition. It's one of those games where it's just hard to pin it. Like the places where it would excel, there's just not a lot of categories for that kind of thing.
And there's a lot of some of the ones it's in. There's just a lot of better games in it.
Yeah, and like I said, this one, like it's an incredible game, but it's meant to be done in like one sitting, one and done, boom, move on. And so is it great? Yes, but it's short, and so there's only so much you can do. So basically, for those doing a little tic-tac-toe at home, you can tell where I'm narrowing in on, and that is Death Stranding 2 and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Death Stranding 2 is, of course, the next evolution of Death Stranding, and they do make some substantial leaps in the things that you can do and your abilities. I know that Death Stranding was not for a lot of people, but I think myself and Jay are both evangelists when it comes to Death Stranding, and whatever you've heard, walking simulator, mail delivery simulator, all these things.
I get so tired of hearing that.
If you actually play it, it will make sense. It is, yeah, the walking simulator stuff is kind of overplayed, but it's a phenomenal game. I think it's a phenomenal story. So it's between that and then there's Indiana Jones. And like Jay said, it was one of these things where they announced it. Machine Games was going to be doing it. And I was kind of like, okay, we'll see. I don't know. I didn't really think the first person was going to be what we wanted. It's like, okay, we've got Indiana Jones, but we don't get to see Indiana doing stuff. It just didn't feel like that. But then I played it. And just like Splinter Cell Death Watch did as a show, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle did as a game, and it changed my mind. Upon playing it, I realized the benefit that you get from that first person perspective, and it really is sort of a way to sort of draw you into it. It's very engrossing. The storytelling is phenomenal. This is a better story. Like, this game is a better Indiana Jones movie than the previous two Indiana Jones movies that I try to convince myself didn't happen. And this, obviously, Harrison Ford is aged out. If you want Indiana Jones to continue, if you want to keep getting these high quality, based in reality, like based on a real thing, like a grain of truth stories that they then build out from and build these sort of these great fantasy adventure romps around, the Machine Games and the Indiana Jones license with these games, this is how you're going to get more of those stories. This is how you're going to get the Indiana Jones that you love from the trilogy. And so it's really tough for me. I am very split between these two games. If I was going to give the edge to one, I would say it's Death Stranding 2. And I think, given Keighleys' affection for Hideo Kojima, it will likely be Death Stranding 2. But Indiana Jones and the Great Circle absolutely has a right to be here, and I love it. If there was going to be an upset, it would be Hollow Knight Silksong, even though most people would probably not consider that an upset. Best action game. So we have here Battlefield 6, Doom the Dark Ages, Hades 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Shinobi Art of Vengeance.
Well, I guess you already know where my vote is on this one.
Yes. Given context clues of the last hour and 7 minutes, I'm going to assume your vote is going in the direction of Battlefield 6.
It absolutely is. That single player campaign is phenomenal, dude. It's a heart pounding journey through a combat zone. The sound direction on it is ridiculous. Some of the most realistic sounds I've heard since I wore camouflage. That alone is enough to like draw you right into it.
I know Doom the Dark Ages has gotten sort of mixed feedback. Some people really like it, some people didn't. Like, it was a definite change to the sort of Doom formula. It does in fact play different. It's not just Doom with a different skin over the top of it. They actually did make some changes, and a lot of people weren't super thrilled with it. Ninja Gaiden 4, I mean, it came out, but I have, you told me a little bit about it. I haven't heard a whole lot going into it. Shinobi Art of Vengeance, kind of the same thing. Haven't heard a lot about it. I think it's going to come down to Battlefield 6 or Hades 2, and I suspect that it will actually be Hades 2 that walks away with this one. Now, I have not played Hades 2. I have played Hades, and it was great. The only issue is that it is this roguelike thing, and you do these runs, you go through it, and once you die, you get shot back to the start, and you go through it again. And they do have a way that this process does drive the story forward. Every time you get sent back to your home base, you do have the opportunity to talk to new people. You get to uncover more layers of the story. And so they make it the best I've ever seen it done. It does the best job of making that moment of death at the end where you go back to the start less frustrating, because you're like, well, at least I get to uncover some more of the narrative. I get to talk to some more people. I get to do this. And so Hades kept me longer than most of those, but at some point it just starts to weigh on me, where I'm just doing the same thing over and over with different weapons, even though, yeah, it's procedurally generated and it does change. It just grinds on me at some point. So it's not, while it's the best one I've played, it's still not my thing, but I do know that, it's expertly crafted and a lot of time and care was put into it. So I actually suspect that Hades 2 is what's going to walk away with it. Best debut indie game. We have
This is going to be
Blueprints,
Blueprints or Dispatch, dude.
Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Despelote, and Dispatch. So Blueprints is one that I have heard a lot, but I know nothing about. What is Blueprints?
So it is a puzzler, and that's about all I know about it, that it is a crazy puzzler. After hearing your Dispatch rant last week, I'm inclined to want to vote for that because, again, I think Clair Obscur is going to clean the house on the big categories. However, I think they would be doing Clair Obscur a disservice by not giving them this award because it is their debut title, and they're probably going to win Game of the Year. So
Yes.
I really feel like Clair Obscur is going to win this, although it could possibly be because of what I was just talking about, Blueprints or Dispatch.
To narrow it down to two, I would say, yeah, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, or Dispatch. And between those two, I adore Dispatch. I thought it was phenomenal. I love that game.
Know.
Anybody that listened, I love that game. However, when it comes down to the gameplay, there are two things. One is the choose your own adventure story aspect, which is phenomenal, where this really shines. And the other thing is essentially resource management for these shifts where you're getting these calls for issues that need to be resolved, supervillain stuff going on, and then you send out heroes to deal with whatever is happening. It becomes a resource management thing. So whenever it comes to gameplay itself, the gameplay is rather simple in what it's doing. So I love it. I adore it. I think it's a phenomenal game. If you haven't played it, I think you should. But when it comes to the total package, I just think there is no touching Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, in what they were able to accomplish. And yeah, I think it should be Expedition 33, and I think it will be Expedition 33.
Yeah, I actually hope they win this category too, because I think that's just further testament and it further strengthens their Game of the Year vote.
Best independent game. So this is no longer debut. This is just best independent game. We have Absalom, Ball X Pit or Ball Cross Pit, Blueprints.
They actually just call it Ball Pit for some reason, but yeah.
Oh, gosh. Blueprints, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, and Hades 2.
I think this is going to come down to Absalom or Hades 2. Ball Pit kind of has that gamer draw that, what was that poker one, that Balastro or
Balatro. Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of has that, at least from what I can tell on Steam, it kind of has that same draw. But this Absalom game, and I've seen some crazy footage on it, looks pretty good. But I think Hades 2 will take, either Hades 2 or Blueprints will take this one.
I agree. I don't know much about Blueprints. If anybody else does, educate me. Let me know what it's all about, what you think of it. But it's going to be that or Hades 2, and I think it's just because of how well Hades the first one did. I think it's going to be Hades 2. Best community support. We have Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky. Still in contention here. I think there are, of these 5, I think there are really 3.
I also think there are 3. I think Final Fantasy 14 and Fortnite should be canceled because A, they've both won the award before, and B, they when we talk about long in the tooth, these guys are in the nursing home as far as that goes. No Man's Sky, it almost needs to be an honorary award at this point for them because they have worked their butt off. They have done a miraculous job. Do they deserve a win here? Yeah. But Helldivers 2, with the constant upgrades that it gets, the little packs that gives people so many options to customize their character to the point where no 2 Helldivers are the same, which is weird since no 2 Helldivers are the same because every time you die, you're technically a new Helldiver. Also for Baldur's Gate 3, for going full ballsy and giving mods to the console people this year, to me, that takes them over the edge because one of the things that differentiates the PC and what drives console gamers crazy is they're like, man, I wish I could build a PC so I could have mods. We've got games like Baldur's Gate 3 that are giving you mods and good ones, not just bullshit throwaway mods, but good mods. I'm going to bring it up. I know you'll probably laugh, but Farming Simulator does phenomenal crossovers from the PC mod to the console mod people. A lot of racing games will do mods for consoles. So, yeah, I really think simply for that, I think Baldur's Gate 3 should win this category because it's very seldom that we get mods on console.
Final Fantasy 14 and Fortnite, I agree. Are they a thing? Yeah, but I don't think that there's
Yeah.
anything particularly special about them. Then we have Helldivers 2, and I know that there are some issues here. So they do have a brutal release pace that they've been keeping up. Now, unfortunately, that has resulted in some bugs coming through in their game where they put more, and they've announced this, where they said like they put priority on giving people content, and that just because of their own limitations meant that they couldn't address issues and glitches and things like that. And so there have been more recently more issues that have come up around just bugs and things like that. So they have had issues there. No Man's Sky is one of the legendary come from behind
Redemption.
stories.
Yeah.
So I think Helldivers 2, I think like I said, they've done amazing support, although some of that support has unfortunately been at the cost of bug fixes. No Man's Sky, legendary. Unfortunately, however, it's like they should have gotten that award years ago at this point. And Baldur's Gate 3, it's an incredible game, and even whenever there are mods that are allowed for games, such as when they allow mods in like Fallout or something like that, the mods are still limited whenever it comes to the console by what they will allow you to put on there and things like that. And so Baldur's Gate 3,
Especially on PlayStation.
yeah,
Because PlayStation won't allow, Xbox will allow external asset. Sony will not allow external asset.
yeah. So Baldur's Gate 3 has allowed far more into their console ports when it comes to the mods, and of course the game is amazing and giving you access and bug fixes, and then the ability to do these things. I've got to say it's Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, one of the best RPGs, if not the best RPG of all time, and until their next one. And yeah, so my vote is Baldur's Gate 3.
Even for the D&D crowd, the legit dyed-in-the-wool Dungeons and Dragons crowd, giving us all the subclasses that you would normally not have access to in Baldur's Gate 3, the Gloomstalker and the Circle of the Moon Druid, stuff like that, the Artificer, which was new to the second version of 5e. That is an incredible step forward. And I feel like it's also a call out to other games that, hey, we did mods, you can do mods, make it happen. Hopefully we see that.
Next one is best ongoing game. We have Final Fantasy 14.
God.
Man, desperately trying to get one in there for him. Fortnite, Helldivers 2, Marvel Rivals, and No Man's Sky.
So the first two games, they've both won it more than once. It's time to make room. Just dump these two. So my vote is actually Marvel Rivals because my son he's the market now, man. He's the market crowd, and him and his friends play Marvel Rivals religiously. They just released Gambit this past weekend. All that content is free. I mean, now you have to buy like the additional costumes. If you want the cosmetics, you have to do that. But all the characters are free. Personally, I would love it if Helldivers won this because it's such a good game. But Marvel Rivals is also a good game. And I really feel like because it has the pulse of the young generation right now that this is going to run away with it.
Yeah, Final Fantasy, Fortnite, I don't care. It's old hat at this point. No Man's Sky, love the game. However, I don't consider it an ongoing game. It has ongoing support, but that is different from an ongoing game. Helldivers 2, I would love to see get it for democracy, but I think it's going to be Marvel Rivals, and I think it should be Marvel Rivals.
Agreed.
Best performance. We have Ben Starr from Expedition 33, Charlie Cox from Expedition 33, Erika Ishii from Ghost of Yote, Jennifer English, Expedition 33. You'll notice the theme. Kanatsu Koto of Silent Hill F, and Troy Baker, Texas's own Troy Baker, for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Woo! Even though I'm not from Texas. Okay, buddy. I don't know where you're coming down on this, but I'm just going to lay this out. I love Charlie Cox. He's the best on-screen daredevil we've ever had. He is he's immediately noticeable in this game, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, especially if you've seen the show Treason on Netflix, because it's the same accent that he uses. I love Jennifer English, who also voices Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate. My vote for this, though, and not because he's from Texas, is Troy Baker, because I don't think he's ever won it. And to play the voice of one of the most iconic actors in Hollywood history and nail it to the point that you forget Harrison Ford is not in this game is worth it alone. That alone they should just hand him the trophy.
So,
I don't know how you might go Claire Expedition 30. I get it, but I'm just telling you.
So Clear Obscure Expedition 33 is much like Baldur's Gate 3 in that every person in that game knocked it out of the park. Everybody that has, like, Baldur's Gate 3, everybody they gave a role killed it. And Expedition 33, everybody that got a role killed it. However, this is it.
Are you going to agree with me right now?
I have to go with Troy Baker. And one thing that makes me a little sad about it is that if he gets it, it will be a character that, because of what he had to do, he didn't get a chance to make his own. He didn't get a chance.
Wow, I absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
To do his own thing to bring that character alive.
That actually might cost him the award now that you said it that way.
It might almost feel a little insulting to him that he would win it because he did the best imitation instead of creating a character.
Oh, dude,
however, he did
sounds
such
brutal.
He did. I'm just saying it's sad because, like, as an actor, I know that that's what you want to do. You want to create this character, you know, and he is playing somebody. And
I'm just a dude who's playing a dude who's playing another dude.
But I will say, he did such a phenomenal job as of being Harrison Ford, because one of the things whenever you take on something as iconic as Indiana Jones, that was the thing, is like, if it's not Harrison Ford, why are you making this? Because Harrison Ford is so integral to the character that it can't be done if it's not him. And then you hear it and you're wait, what? Like, that's it. And he does such a good job. You buy it and then you never question it again. Never. You go through the entirety of the game and you never once think that's not Indy.
Folks, if you have not played this game yet, it's worth it to play it just to hear Troy Baker do Harrison Ford. And here's my thing too, and we said this about another category. I forgot what we were talking about last week. We were talking about Liam Hemsworth having the balls to take on Geralt of Rivia. Troy Baker and you got to have coolions the size of church bells to take on Harrison Ford. It doesn't get much more. In fact, he's probably the last living actor that you've got to have that size of brass balls to take on that role. And the fact that he's like, yeah, I'll do that. Sure. And like you said, dude, he nailed it. I felt like there were times when they may have dubbed him in or dubbed Harrison in for lines that Harrison, maybe they took B-roll from all the Indiana Jones movies. It was insane.
Yeah.
But again, now that you said what you said, I'm like, he might lose because he didn't do, technically for him, it was original, but for nobody else was it original because he's doing somebody else.
Yep. And that's the box he's painted in. I'm sure he wants to do his own thing, but if you go ahead and you play a little jazz, people are going to be pissed off because that's not Indiana Jones. But I think he did great. He did phenomenal. You never question it. I think that it absolutely should be him, and I hope that he doesn't feel like there's an asterisk next to his name if he gets it.
Let me ask you this, though. If Troy Baker wasn't nominated, who would you vote for?
Charlie Cox. Charlie Cox. Just because he's never done voice acting in a game before. I don't even know if he's done any voice acting before. I don't know if he's done any animation or anything like that. But he did an incredible job in Expedition 33, and I would give it to him, especially if it's given that it's his first time.
And yeah, I would absolutely agree with you. Definitely go with Charlie Cox for sure.
Best audio design, we have Battlefield 6, Clear Obscure Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, and Silent Hill F.
So I'm so torn in this. You might not think I'm torn in this category, but I literally put in my notes, this is an important category. And I'm going to tell you why. First off, I'm going to talk about Clear Obscure Expedition 33. And as far as sound design goes, the way the music fit every single mood, at least from the parts that I've played so far, and much like the Altars, I'm about 7-8 hours into this one. Whatever I was feeling matched where the music was. That part of it was great, but that's a music to emotion feeling. And then you talk about Death Stranding 2, where sometimes the lack of sound is what makes that game. But when that music hits by what's his name, Woodkid or whatever, it nails it every single and it did in the first game. But watching people play Death Stranding 2 and seeing that footage where Woodkid cracks in, good stuff. I feel like Ghost of Yotei is a retread on Tsushima, but as a person that served, I got to tell you, Battlefield 6, a lot of people, this is a throwaway game for them, I would think, in this category. They're like, what's the big deal with that? But cycling a magazine and hearing the reload and the bolt kick back on an M4 and an APFAS T round coming out of a main tank or a mortar, or if that sound is accurate, it puts you in that scene. And I think it's going to get discounted, but I don't think it should. I feel like Claire Obscure is going to win this category as well. And maybe Silent Hill F is an upset because it's a horror game, and horror game sound design is always good. But I feel like Battlefield 6 is just going to get completely discounted on this one. But my vote is going to be Claire Obscure.
I'll just say that I think it's going to be Death Stranding 2. And it's because we've mentioned numerous times before that the sound design in Death Stranding 2 is another character in the game. It really is impactful and meaningful in a way that you don't get in other games. And so as is the camera, quote unquote, camera work in the game at times. But also in Death Stranding 2, which whenever we did a preview whenever I first started playing it, I mentioned some of the other things about it, and that is that the music, the soundtrack that goes in the background can also, like, it's one thing, like all games have this thing where, okay, if there's nothing going on, the music in the background is one thing. Oh, now we're in a fight. Now the music is more intense. Death Stranding 2, though, has a thing where there is a track that is playing, and then if you run, that track changes. If you're running, maybe it gets a bit more intense. And then if you're running off of the beaten path, maybe now the drums start coming in heavier, and those drums are going to the rhythm of your footsteps as you are going off the beaten path. And then if you are in a combat situation now, it's still the same track, just cranked up with more intensity and more speed. And then as you put distance between you and the people that you are going against, it's that same high intensity track, but they've just turned that intensity down just a touch. Still more than when you were walking, but less than whenever you were face to face with this person. And so the way that it alters so fluidly, sometimes, like I said, just to the simpleness of you wandering off the beaten track, and that changes the instrument that it is pushing forward. I think it is something that you don't notice, or you don't realize that you notice it. You feel it, and then you're like, why does this feel different? And then you start to notice that it's because of the audio design. I think it will be Death Stranding 2, and I think I would cast my vote for Death Stranding 2.
Well, I'll tell you, you sold me on that, and especially since I played the first game and it was very similar. There's very specific moments in the first game I remember where I was like, this sound is what sold that scene for me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And to all the vets out there, guys, I get it from a Battlefield 6 standpoint. I feel like it'll be between Death Stranding 2 and Clair Obscur because
Agreed.
of the music.
Best score and music, we have Hollow Knight Silksong, Hades 2, Clear Obscure Expedition 33, Ghost of Yotei, and Death Stranding 2 on the beach. I mean, just basically for all the reasons I just said, it's going to be Death Stranding 2 Woodkid.
Yeah, I'm really partial towards. I love his insight. I love where he goes at the pulse of what he tries to go for. So that'll be my vote as well. Woodkid and Ludwig, whatever his Forcell or whatever.
Best art direction.
That's a tough category, brother.
Clear Obscure Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 on the beach, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silksong.
My vote's going to be Ghost of Yotei on this one. I think they're going to throw him a bone on this one because they're not going to win any other category. And I don't think anybody, as a huge Kira Kurosawa fan, I don't think anything captures the Japanese culture the way that the Ghost games do. So my vote is going to be with that. Although I love the art direction in Death Stranding as well.
Yeah, and so this is one where I feel like, okay, so Death Stranding 2, does it have its own look? Of course it does. It has a very Kojima look, and the way that the environments interact and how they look and the things but it's very true to life. You know, I mean, they do scans of these people, you know, so even though it's a place that's bizarre and has ghosts and black tar that comes in waves and whatever, it's still very lifelike. And while it's impressive, that's not necessarily an art choice. There's a look to it, but I don't know. So that one, Ghost of Yotei, Hollow Knight Silksong is its own thing. I think this is probably going to come down to Hades 2 because it has a very signature art style that they have curated and cultivated from the original to Hades 2. And again, Clear Obscure Expedition 33, they were a small team. They can't make something that looks like Death Stranding 2. They don't have the manpower. They don't have the technology. So they leaned on what they had, and they made an art style that complemented that and highlighted its strengths and hid its weaknesses so well.
Yeah.
So I know that I am a broken record on this, and I think it's going to be that way at the Game Awards. I would give the nod to Expedition 33 because they expertly crafted an appealing, eye-catching art style that hides the weaknesses to the point that you can't even find them to speak of them.
I got to tell you, man, I feel sorry for the Clair Obscure Expedition 33 dev team that shows up for this award show because they are never going to get to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
They could potentially
They're going to get their steps in.
This could potentially end up being a Return of the King moment for them where they win 11 freaking awards and they can't leave the arena or the auditorium for anything.
I hope so. Well, they also have those there's going to be a lot of commercials. Keighleys going to go off and read some things, interview. Yeah. He's going to have the on stage thing with Hideo Kojima with an interpreter that's going to take 15 minutes when it was scheduled for 5. So, but what was it last year that they brought in Robert De Niro out of nowhere? So we'll get some insanity. We'll see.
We're not going to need an interpreter for whatever Jeff Keighley's doing with Hideo Kojima.
Yeah. Best narrative. Clear Obscure Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Silent Hill F. And again, I apologize in advance to Silent Hill F. I haven't played a Silent Hill game in forever. I have not played Silent Hill F. It keeps showing up, and I know nothing about you. I'm sorry, but you're not getting any of my votes. Apologies for all these categories that I've ignored you in. So anyways, what do you think, Jay?
I think Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on this one.
For best narrative?
For best narrative, and I'm going to tell you why. It has a cohesive historical narrative that has a point A, a point B, and a point Z. I think Yotei's a typical revenge plot that's going to get called out for that and not win. I think Death Stranding 2, for the same reasons we've talked about a million times when it comes to this, if you can wrap your mind around just accepting what Hideo Kojima is delivering to you, then you'll get it. And if you can't, you won't. And you'll start getting on social media and going, it's a walking simulator. Oh, I work for Amazon Prime and I'm delivering packages. So I think they're going to get snubbed for that. And Clair Obscur, again, an indie title that is an RPG that has multiple layers that people have to learn how to do a counter and parry system that is through the roof, by the way, not for nothing. I feel like Kingdom Come Deliverance is the easy vote for narrative.
Ghost of Yotei, I definitely agree, is tropey, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be done very well.
It's not. Still makes a great game.
But I wanted more, and there's really not a lot to it as far as that goes. Silent Hill F, see previous statement. Death Stranding 2, as you said, yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of got to let it go, and once you give yourself to it, it doesn't break its own rules, which many games do. It doesn't break the rules of its narrative that it establishes. The rules can be crazy, but it doesn't break them once they're there. But it is nuts. And I know that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 does have a ton of fans. It's carrying on from the first game, and it does have a very grounded, gritty, solid narrative. However, I know, broken record, man. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, the narrative is phenomenal. You will not expect it. And it truly is that good, and it is that emotional and gripping and engrossing. It really is that good. This is Baldur's Gate 3 all over again. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33 really is all the things that you have heard, and I think it will win. I think it deserves to win Best Narrative.
Well, listen, man, I value your opinion more than a lot of people on this planet. So I got to tell you, I hear where you're coming from, but I think, and they probably will get it. And I think it's important to separate narrative from game. And that's why I went with Kingdom Come Deliverance, because of the cohesion of the narrative.
Best Game Direction awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. We'll go through this one quickly because it's basically a repeat, but Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, and Split Fiction once again sneaking into one of those categories.
This is going to be Clair Obscur. Yeah, this is going to be Clair Obscur. This isn't even really an argument. This is going to be Clair Obscur. Yep. They're going to nail these two right here. No big deal.
Here we are. Now the big one, the final one, the grand finale, the game of the year. It is Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Donkey Kong Bonanza because there needs to be a Nintendo game, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silk Song, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Obviously, I'm going with Donkey Kong Bonanza.
I thought so.
But, man, I got to tell you, it is an insult to every one of these games that Donkey Kong Bonanza is in there. You're talking about a game. Now, listen, I want you to take this from my standpoint. You're developing Clair Obscur Expedition 33. You're bringing in 5 world-class actors to do your voice acting. There's that money. Then there's the development money about developing your combat engine and what it looks like. Then your story, then your narrative, then your sound, and then your game. And then Death Stranding 2, Kojima building on what he built with the first game. All-star cast again he's got to hire. Crazy development, ridiculous graphics engine. It looks like it's a National Geographic documentary. Then you got Hades 2 building on the roguelike that they had before. And Hollow Knight building on their strengths from the original Hollow Knight. And Kingdom Come Deliverance building a story around Renaissance Europe. And then Donkey Kong effing Bonanza? Seriously?
Well,
seriously?
This is one where it's like, I know that there are, it's like it's different qualities, but yeah, to call it the game of the year would be a stretch, especially given what the Game Awards have kind of come to represent, where it really is on these things. You look at previous winners like Baldur's Gate 3 and that, Elden Ring and that kind of thing. Like Donkey Kong just really, while it is a great game for what it's doing, it's just not the same level as those kinds of things, So
My vote's Clair Obscur, by the way, but go ahead.
Yeah, it comes down to Death Stranding 2 and Clair Obscur for me, and I know it's going to break Keighleys' heart, but it's got to be Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It's just the year it came out in. Like, I absolutely adore Death Stranding 2. I love the series, but Clair Obscur, man, they came out and they did a home run from the fact that this came out from a small team, their first effort. It's still remarkable. It's absolutely unreal. It really is that good, guys. It really is incredible, and I think it deserves the win of game. Also, if Kojima doesn't get Game of the Year, he's still rich. He's still Kojima. He's still got Jeff Keighley following him around like a puppy. It's not going to. If he won or lost this category, it doesn't change his life at all. He's Hideo Kojima. Clair Obscur,
dude, he's got Metal Gear. Who gives a shit?
These guys, they made an incredible game, and to get the recognition that I think they are all but guaranteed to get this year will change their lives and their careers going forward. They deserve it. They earned it. It's Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It's Game of the Year.
And I got news for you. I bet Hideo Kojima's vote is for Clair Obscur.
I would wager that you are correct.
Because I guarantee you, he saw that plot and he was like, dude, I wish I would have come up with this. This is because it's another plot, dude, where you've really got to.
Yep.
You've got to and it's such a crazy sacrificial so that the rest of us can live plot that I think Kojima would respect.
It's one of those. It's a story that is deeper the more you think about it. Well, that is today's episode, and if you have watched it all the way until the end and you're seeing me right now, 1, I am impressed, and 2, I will try to not take up any more of your time. I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for watching and ask that if you enjoyed what you watched, please consider giving us a like and a sub. It really helps us out. We're trying to gain our momentum back and fight back against the algorithm. But this is where I leave you for today. This is where we part ways for now. Till next time, I will see you guys later. Thank you again.
I must bid you adieu.